Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for a most beautiful painting. It,
You're welcome.
it is everything and more that I ever dreamed of. The magical light that comes through the glass globe is so beautiful, so special. And
Thank you. Yeah, I had that like different kind of colors working through, and then at the end I was like, I think it needs to be purple because it's kind of going through this whole world. And then I added the green on the outside. Just I added all these different colors, and I was like, green, yes. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Leave it. Yeah. So it was a process getting to that point, but yeah.
oh, that's
I
neat.
get Should I just long story, or do you want to ask questions throughout, or how should we do
No, it's you can give us the
it?
long story, and I'll ask questions if they come up.
Sounds good. So yes, the first thing that is super important for a painting is the drawing. If your drawing is good, then your painting is way more likely to be good. So yes, we spend a lot of time just talking about the drawing, and I sent you a few like thumbnails to say, oh, do you like this one or this one or this one? And you picked that one. So yeah, so the drawing was a process. And then I ordered a piece of wood. I have a carpenter out here. It's very exciting. So I ordered a piece of wood from him. He had two options where I could get like a thin piece of wood or I could get a thicker piece. And he just recommended a thicker one because the thin one was like really, really thin. So it was going to bend a lot and stuff. So I went with the thicker choice, and I'm glad that I did that because then it has a lot of power.
Mm. May I ask, is this the first time you have ordered a piece of wood where you are?
Yeah, so I ordered a table a little while ago. So it was the same carpenter that I ordered the wood from, but I hadn't yet ordered a painting piece of wood. So yes,
Well, we have the honor of being the first piece of wood. Cool.
my guinea pig because this is my first painting pretty much that I've done in Africa. I started one in back in Calgary and then took it here and then finished it here. But yes, this is the first one that's been all the way through in Africa. And so the first kind of thing that I did was I didn't like transfer the drawing right on to the from the paper to the canvas. I just kind of drew it as I saw it on the paper because I made a few more adjustments to fit these dimensions properly and stuff. And I used like a bowl, so I'll just show you the painting. So I used a just put it over top of the pendant, and I yeah, kind of rummaged through my closet and found a bunch of different sizes. So I did one for the middle part and then one for like outside and stuff. And then I just like painted the background quickly and painted the blocking in stage. So that's like the first stage that you do with paint. You just like get in those colors, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to, have the perfect form and stuff, but just getting some colors down so that the wood was covered. So you can see any of I'll just call it a canvas for the sake of, not being confusing. So making sure that the canvas was covered. And then I just went to work on the important things first and then the less important things as I went out. So I started with the world on the inside of the pendant, like the inside. I don't know if it's glass or if it's something else, another material. Inside there, we've got a little landscape. So as we've talked about all of the different things you want in there, I just kind of started adding those in and just going layer by layer. So like the space in the background with the stars and stuff, and then moving forward to the globe and the rocks, and then adding like the spaceship as well. So just all those different parts. And I knew that I was going to make it, because I had asked you, do you want it to be like a sphere or do you want it to just be like a flat circle, like painted on? And so you're like, let's make it a sphere. So I was trying to think about how to do the distortion as well.
Mm.
And I was kind of just looking at pictures for what I wanted the colors and stuff to be. I had done a little color study. I'll show that to you. So here's a little color study that I did. I think I might have showed that last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was kind of looking at that, not strictly sticking to it, but trying to be close. And yeah, so there was this lovely picture that I found of like a nice sunset, and I had this vision of having like nice pinks and purples in there, and having it very obviously an atmosphere inside this globe. And so I added those colors in, and I didn't overwork that very much. I just kind of like put it in, and I was like, "Yep, there we go, that's good," and moved to the next step. So yeah, I think the next thing that I moved on to was thinking about the chain and the frame around the globe, or the sphere. So this like these details all around here, and then up in the chain as well. So for that, just stop me if you have like comments or questions, or else I'll just keep going. I love talking about art. Yeah, so I kind of did some designs for the crosses and the crowns. So that was 12, but yeah, that's up here. And so I cut out a few crowns and crosses, yeah, into this little
stencil
paper. And I started with some bigger stuff because I figured the sphere was so big. I wanted to make it look just full and chunky. It was way too big. Like it didn't look like a chain anymore. It just looked, I don't know, this random crosses everywhere. So I made it smaller. Took me maybe 4 hours and repainted it. But that is, yes, as I told you earlier, that is the vein of an artist. Just painting.
Oh yeah.
Already, yeah, in order to make it actually work. So yeah, just painted through the stencil all of the crosses and crowns, and I did the same thing along the frame, but I made them a little bit bigger along the frame. Now I had a bit of a dilemma because this is a sphere, right? So it's got to have dimension to it. And then I was thinking, if this whole thing is on a surface like a table or something, then this is going to be too top heavy, and it's going to like tilt towards the trees up here. So I'm like, okay, I don't think that really works. Like I tried it a little bit. I tried making the chains go from like small up here to big to join the tree up here, because they would have, like, if they're leaning on the table, they would have kind of like arched upwards, and it just did not look good. Like it just looked weird. And also the size problem too, like these would have to be way smaller in order to have that same amount of dimension. Like it would be half, yeah, so it'd be like coming out this far. And so yeah, it wasn't really working. So what I decided to do instead was to just make it, like you said, a little more magical, where it's just kind of floating. So in that case, if it's just suspended in air, then I didn't have to worry about the gravity of it like coming and leaning in or anything like that. And I'm not sure how big this pendant would be on your character, but I figured it would look better on a character going like in a little bit than just like sitting on a flat surface and having to go like all the way. Yeah.
Yes. Gravity is overrated, right?
Oh, right? This is a thing. We can do whatever we want.
Yes.
Yeah. So then it was just the details after that. So I have a process called like, well, I like to layer and do washes over top. So when it's acrylic paint, you use washes, and if it was oil paint, you would use glazes. But for acrylic paint, you put down your color, and then if you want it to just really like pop, like do just more vibrant saturated colors, you do thin paint over top. So thin paint that doesn't have any white in it, it's transparent. You do that over top, and it starts to just glow. And that's what I did a lot in here for just those like really colorful, punchy parts. And I'll show you the paints that I use. So I use 3 colors. They are magenta and yellow and blue. All right. So these are my primary colors. And I can make almost any color with these. Now, I know that you probably can get more saturated if you get a full like pigment that was meant to be that color. But I
Mm-mm.
find that these pretty nicely for colors.
Mm.
And yeah, I just mix a lot, and we're good. Yeah, so I was looking at pictures just online of spheres, like clear spheres, and I wanted to just really make it look like it's popping off the page. When I first did my blocking in stage, it looked really dimensional. And then, of course, I painted over top of it and stuff, and it didn't look dimensional anymore. It was just a flat, um, yeah, flat image. And then, so I was like, okay, I have another dilemma here where I have to paint over top of some stuff that I've already done. But because I wanted it to look really real, I added this really bright highlight in here. It's going from kind of like pinks in here to yellows closer to the middle. So it looks like light. And then coming through, we've got the sun or whatever's highlighting this. And it's creating this bounce back, coming back to here. And then it's coming back and leaving this like glow down here as well. So there, I don't understand all the science about light, but yeah, I can kind of see something and say that looks good. That's what I want to achieve, and then bring it in here. So using my own artistic license and stuff, and changing things to be how
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love how you think about the physics, even if you're not going to play along with them. They're they're in the picture, so to say. Uh, and so the manuscript has to be really good, but the cover has to be knockout, right? Because it is the thing that the reader will see first and the thing that they will share with other readers. And so your painting is front and center of trying to be the most beautiful cover that anybody could see. It looks so much better on Zoom than it does on those images.
No, it's good. I feel like art is very like painting is very similar to writing as well, where you're thinking about what's not seen and what is seen, and like I'm thinking for mine, like where the lighting is coming from. Even though you don't see the sun, you can kind of see where it's hitting the objects and stuff, and casting those shadows, and yeah, and then covering stuff up, even though you've worked on them for a long time. Like you're editing, it's the editing process where you're just making stuff better. And you can see that as an author. You can see, okay, there's something not working about this part, like the crosses and the crowns being too big. It's like that's chunky, that's not flowing nicely. So let's undo that work, and we've learned from that, and let's edit it, and let's make it actually fit into that mold that you want it to. Yeah.
And the best art, whether it's painting or writing, is hinting and suggesting, not putting it front and center and leaving nothing to the imagination.
Right. It's a mystery.
Yeah. And so I feel like your painting does hint and suggest and it pulls the reader into this world where light bounces around and and chains, the chain is very three-dimensional as well, the way you painted it. And of course the chain and the pendant are the things that will stick around for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So getting them right is going to set the tone for all the rest. So and you probably spent more time on the chain and the crowns and the crosses and the frame than on the picture in the middle. And that's a good thing because they're going to be the ones that stick around. In the next cover, we'll have a different picture in the middle there. And you'll get to play with the light again, right?
So fun.
So would you mind holding the painting up one more time to just there? Yeah. And I'm glad you signed it at the bottom. It just I can see the spaceship so much better now in the painting. I mean, in the picture, the light just obscures the poor little spaceship. Thank you so much, Anna, for this beautiful painting you have made for Leoshine Princess Oracle. And we look forward to the next painting we can commission from you for the second book in the Leoshine series, which is called Leoshine Princess Quarry. In the meantime, stay safe, stay strong, happy teaching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.